James, hey, how you doing, man?
All
I
right, how are
feel so
you?
bad. I don't know who all heard because I think it was when there were issues going on. But I told everyone, you're calling in from Australia, so it's like 3 or 4 in the morning there. We've got all
Yeah.
these glitches going on.
Can you guys hear me well, or
We got you on now, though. We're glad.
you can hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. I didn't have my earbuds in.
Awesome.
That's why if I
Yeah,
wasn't paying attention to you, that usually does it. They say you got to have the earbuds in. So.
yeah. No, I think I might have got the times switched around because it's just hit 7 now. So
Oh, and
not
you've
sure.
been on for you were on like 2 hours ago too.
Yeah, I came in. I think I got my time messed up.
Well,
Never
at
mind.
least you were 2 hours early and not 2 hours
I
late, right?
was, and I got to
So,
see White's one. I think.
yeah, well, that's good. So, sorry, most of your time got eaten up with technical glitches. I apologize. So, I was going to
No,
say, what would be now? James is another young man in the lawn care industry. You are you 18 as well,
16.
or about to turn 18?
16.
16. Okay. So, what in Australia? How old do you have to be to drive by yourself? 16.
Well, you can get your learner's permit when you're 16. And then P plates for probationary sort of thing when you're 17, I think, and have 100 hours, I think it is in Victoria where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you are 18, you can get your full license, I think it is.
Okay. So how does that work then with you as a young man? Do you have somebody who helps you get around or?
Yeah, well, it basically means I'm stuck if I don't have anyone to
Uh,
take me around. So my dad drives us normally, because I don't think I'm allowed to tow a trailer on my learners. So that'd be hopeless anyhow. So basically, I've got to wait until I'm 18, 19 before I can actually start going out on my own. Aside from a couple in my street and the streets around me, which makes it a bit difficult, I guess, because you're not able to get around as easily.
yeah. And you've got James when we were trying to plan for this event, we were trying to find times that would work, and you've got a lot going on. You're a very busy young man. So you were
Yeah.
talking about, was it a school production of a play?
Yeah, we just finished that last night, so I've had like 5 hours sleep because that I only got to bed at like 11 at night. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
then
we
there
had
were
the
some
pre-show for
different
that.
sports that you had mentioned too.
Yeah, so I've got a lot in my life, and I guess that's the thing. And I'm a student pilot as well down at one of our local airports. Um, so trying to fit in flying lessons too, which obviously the business helps pay for, but that can be difficult because even if you're only going for a 1 hour flying lesson, you're taken up pretty much for 4 hours by the time you have your briefing, walk around of the plane, getting there, getting back, and so on. So yeah, I end up pretty short on time.
Good. So how do you find the discipline and willpower to schedule out everything?
Look, you kind of lose it a little bit sometimes. And like yesterday, I felt pretty hopeless because it was Saturday for us yesterday. And I was hoping to go out and do a few, but it just started raining early in the morning after I got up, and it just kept raining. It was supposed to stop, but it didn't. And so, I was kind of like, oh, really? I really want to get this done, but I can't. So you kind of lose the plot of it, but then you pull yourself back and you're like, do it tomorrow. So it's a little bit easier. But no, I think the drive is there for me because I'm pretty passionate about it all. So it's not like it's a chore for me in a sense. It's kind of my way of getting away from the rest of life because there's so much on that I've got to think about. So just being able to get out on my own in the open and mow some lawns is great.
It's a nice little zen kind of a distraction.
It is.
All you hear is the hum of the mower and everything. Well,
Yep.
that's good. Well, I know you had given me a couple of pictures, and I wanted to look at some of them. Whoops. Well, that's what we've got to look forward to next. Let me go back and switch this because you've got James, I found James on YouTube as well. Pretty much everybody today is has their own YouTube channel, and you can check them out there. But he has quite a unique setup. And I think from the video I watched, I wanted to say that you said that this was a little bit common where you're at, but just for the US, it's a little bit of a different setup.
Yeah, it is.
So tell me what we're looking at here, because this trailer had a specific name too. I can't remember what it was, like a John Boy or a Quick Jim or something.
Yeah, well, they're pretty famous in Australia. A lot of lawn mowing guys use them because we have such a small market, and because our lawns are so much smaller, we're not needing your big 60-inch zero turns and everything on all our jobs. So obviously, I've got my little 42-inch lawn tractor there, and I'm buying a 48-inch Toro zero turn at the end of the year. But you don't need anything more than that, and moreover, you can't get anything more than that really into most of our lawns unless you're in a more rural area and you're doing acreage properties like a couple of the guys I know, like Martin from Mowing and Growing in New South Wales there in the Central Coast where he is. Far bigger properties. But me in suburban Melbourne, there's not so much of that, so I just use my 21-inch Honda push mower there a fair bit, and my 42 ride-on. So these trailers, I guess, well, they weren't specifically made by them, but a massive franchise company called Jim's Mowing, and they've now expanded. I think they've got something like over 40 services that they offer. So everything from fencing, bookkeeping, computer servicing, like everything home related, they do. And it started out just as Jim's Mowing with this one dude in a push mower, and they use trailers like this. So this is actually an ex-Jim's Mowing trailer. I bought it off a guy who did do Jim's Mowing, so you can kind of see some of the green paint still left there. They're a massive franchise. These trailers go for around, probably $4,500-$5,000 Australian. So probably what, two and a half US. So they're not really cheap for what they are. This is a 7x5 one. So they're very small compared to what you guys have, obviously, with 12, 16-foot trailers. But because we're so, everything is so congested here, it's a lot easier having one of these smaller trailers. My uncle, who used to be a Jim's guy, actually, he did have one of the big, I think it was a 16 or 20-foot trailer, and he managed to fit a 60-inch Skag, I think, and a Walker on the trailer at the same time, which you basically never see in Australia. So his one was pretty unique. It was absolutely enormous, but there's no real need for that for what I'm doing.
And so the mower actually, it rolls up in this ramp here? That's where you store it?
So it's a little mailbox there, and I store my BR700 in there as well, my backpack blower, and I've also put a little hook on that I store my stick edger that I've got. I just hang that kind of at the top bit. It's pretty good because then, you're not having to take the ride-on out first and everything, because with my old 8x5 box trailer that I was using at first, when I had the ride-on in the back, I'd have to take that off and then get the push mower out because, it was all just going through the back. Whereas with this, just open the side ramp and there it is. And the same thing with the ride-on. So it's pretty neat to be able to just, get it in and out easily without having to waste time, strapping stuff down and, take this off, take that off. And that's the other good part about it. You really don't need much tying anything down, even for the side toolbox there where all the whippersnippers and everything go, or weed eaters as you guys call them.
I like whippersnippers better myself.
Yeah, a lot of guys use it. We normally just say trimmers, but some of the more homeowners, they just say whippersnipper because it's more commonly known. But yeah, you don't have to tie anything down, which is great because
everything's got its own little box and its own cage and its own door.
It does. Because with my old trailer, I need to spend nearly an hour trying to, tie everything down, which really negatively affected my business, I guess, because I was a lot less productive. Whereas now I just open the door, everything's in, let's go. And the same thing at jobs, I was taking 5-10 minutes trying to, ratchet everything down again. I do have a bungee cord and, a couple of little metal hooks that I use for the Honda in the front of the mailbox there, because it is, you've got probably a couple of feet of room between the ends of the handlebars and the door there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first bought the trailer, it was out near the airport and on the other side of the city from where I am. So I took the push mower just to make sure that it would fit, because one of my mates had a bit of a problem with his trailer and he had to actually fold the handlebar up a bit. So I wanted to make sure it fit properly, and it did. And there was, a couple of feet room. So I didn't have anything to tie it in though, because I didn't realize how much space there would be in there in terms of length. So, each time we were around a roundabout there, because, there was a lot in this new estate where this guy lived, I just looked behind me in the back seat and just watched the push mower go bang, 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 bang between the two sides in the mower box. So that wasn't too fun. Because
you don't want to treat your equipment like that. If somebody picks it up, you want it to be you, not just driving around.
Yeah.
So does everything lock up? Are you in an area where you feel compelled to use padlocks and all that stuff?
I do have padlocks on everything, and the toolbox there's lockable, so it's got its own built-in lock. And I've got nice, thick padlocks for the rest, because it's not so much we worry about, on the job, of course, there's the issue of, people can just come along and pinch a blower or whatever. And that was something I was really worried about with my old trailer. So I'd end up taking most of my gear into the client's backyard or whatever, just because I didn't feel comfortable with it on the trailer, because, we're in a fairly, crime-free area. But if the opportunistic theft of someone just walking along and saying, oh, there's a leaf blower, I'll just pick that up and keep walking, you don't want that. So, especially with, some of my bigger equipment like that Honda and like my new backpack blower from Still, I know for you guys they're pretty well priced, but for us, because we've got such a small market and the exchange rate, of course, those things are $1,000 Australian. So for a blower, it's not cheap at all.
No, not at all.
So the last thing you need is someone pinching one of those off you, because, my other backpack stuffed as it is, as you might know. So, I'd have nothing apart from that little handheld. But, look, we don't have much crime. But the issue, I think the biggest issue is, I've heard of it, a few people have had it, because some people, they just have to park their trailer out the front of their house, like mine is there, but mine sits in our backyard, quite close to where I'm sitting at the moment in our office outside. But I'm lucky that I can do that, because some people just have to chain it to a tree. But one guy I know, he chained it to the tree at his front yard, and during the night someone came, cut the chain, and drove off with the entire trailer and all his gear in it. So
I thought you were going to say they cut the tree down. That would be like adding insult to injury. If they cut the tree, took the chain and the trailer. That's rough, man.
Yeah, especially, when people like I have, I keep pretty much all my equipment on my trailer now, so it's just ready to go. I have a tarp over it and everything, but, it just sits in there. It's not all in my shed. So if someone's to come along, as one guy did out in Melton, I think, recently, or just before Christmas, so in the peak of our growing season, in summer, and, this guy had like a $14,000 John Deere zero turn on there. He had a couple of Honda push mowers. He had all these really expensive Still trimmers and blowers and everything in a trailer quite like mine, doing Jim's mowing. Some guy just came up, cut the chain, left it lying on the ground, and just drove off with the entire setup, nowhere to be seen. And just completely destroys someone's business. And he had a family and everything. So, where's the income now,
Yeah.
So it makes it hard if people pinch stuff. So I just prefer to be safe.
I was going to make a comment about the poor design on the trailer, why they didn't put it curbside, the gate. But then I realized, Australia, everything's on the different side of the road. So this is curbside. So wouldn't have worked out in translation. Well, cool. That's a neat little setup you got there. Like I said, I've never seen a trailer like that, before that video you put out. So that's a neat little glimpse into how things work.
Yeah, just like when I first started watching, videos from guys in the US, and, I see all their massive trailers, and I think, geez, why are they cutting to need one of those things? Because I actually started off just chucking a little 16-inch push mower in my little Still whippersnipper and blower in the back of our car. So I didn't even have a trailer at first. So then to see guys run around with 20 footers and 3 zero turns on there, I'm thinking, what do you need all that for? But again, completely different market. So that is one of the really interesting things looking at Australia versus America.
Is how different the yards are.
Yeah.
Very neat. Well, so the other part of, excuse me. So the other part of this was, since you're a young guy too, you've probably got, a lot of opinions about what it's like to be a young guy in the industry. One of the ones that Wyatt mentioned was where he said he differed from you was you don't mind hiring on your friends. So I want to hear something about that. And then also if you had anything else to add on what some of the challenges would be of trying to do this business as a young person. And I assume that it'd probably be the same as what Wyatt said, but I'd still like to hear them from you, and then, how you've kind of dealt with those and learned to overcome those.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I wouldn't so much as Wyatt mentioned, I wouldn't so much say I'm all for hiring friends. I definitely think that if you have that ability, and if you're like me and you have, I mean, I'm not hiring best friends. I mean, I'll have good friends on, but they're not the closest people to me. So, I mean, with guys like Connor, you might have seen, I've known him for years and years. We actually started school together, so we've known each other for 12 years now. But we aren't, super close or anything. But with kids like him and, one of my other best friends, little brother, Max, and they can, the fact that they respect me and they respect my equipment and they know how much, it costs and how much it means to me. Because, they go into, shop and they say, oh, God, $1,000 for that thing. Well, so they have a lot of respect for what we're doing, and they take it just as seriously as I do. So I think if you have that ability and if you can remain professional, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, obviously, if you've got people that, you're super tight with, I wouldn't probably want to hire them on. And there's some kids I wouldn't, because, it's business and personal life, I think there should be a bit of a gap. So
you don't really disagree with what, people say and that it can be problematic. Your view is you just have to find the right person, someone who you've got, not a stranger, you've got some level of trust and respect, but definitely not, your best friend kind of a thing. Or if someone who, if that relationship went bad, you wouldn't be real sad about it kind of a thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I think, yes, it's just about finding the right people, and I think even if they are really good friends, maybe, but as long as they have that level of respect and understanding, and I mean, I built my business as J&P Lawn Services originally with one of my good friends, Peter, and that worked fine. It's just about, how easily you can get people who understand what it is and understand that it's not just walking into McDonald's and standing there flipping burgers. It's actually you're a far bigger part. And so you need to have the maturity and the respect and the knowledge to be able to do that. And that's why I say to all my guys all the time, I say, look, just because, you're working for me, think of yourself as me, right? You are no different. I do a certain quality of work. I have a certain way of running my business, talking to customers and so on. I expect the exact same from them. I don't expect any less in terms of work quality or anything, and they know that, and they live up to the standards that I set. And that's something I'm really happy with, because it makes it a lot easier for me, and it weeds out any issues that might arise with customers if, different standards of work. And that has happened before. In the early days when, we're still getting used to it, because not all these guys have done commercial lawn care before. None of them have, actually. So they're still getting used to it. And I say to the guys, look, these guys are, really new to the game. And I say, yeah, come a bit of slack, whatever. That's a good thing when you have understanding customers and understanding employees, I think is the key. Your mic's still muted. Brad, you're still on mute.
Oh, how's that? Is that better? They
Yes.
got to plug it in for it to work, and you have to turn mute off. Man, it's ridiculous. So what I was saying to myself and no one else was, that's a good point, and then that kind of falls back on you as an owner then to only take on understanding clients, and to, you know, when you're looking for those people to work for you, make sure you're picking from the best ones. So then what about talking about customers and clients? Do you have any bad stories about people treating you not the way that you would want because of your age? Oh man, that's the face of a man who has dozens of stories. Well, pick one of the best and share it with us. You can change.
That's exactly why I developed this.
Is that for everybody? Do you have everybody on?
That is, I'm progressively rolling that out as of now. And that's just an agreement sheet basically saying, don't screw around with me because I will kick you. And I have actually done that to a couple of customers recently because they're just a pain to deal with. And, you know, some of them...
And when you say kick, you mean get rid of?
Yep.
Yeah, not as in literally boot to shin. Although you may want to do that too. But.
Definitely. But no, some of them, they just have, like, they see me as pretty much just at their service, I guess. And yes, I am, you know, providing a service to them and for them. And yes, they are hiring me. But the aim of that agreement sheet is to say, I am no less capable of firing you than you are of firing me.
Right.
So if I don't like you, I'll fire you as well. Because I've had people who literally, they say, oh, you don't have any other jobs on today, do you? And I say to them, I just get fed up. So I say, do you actually think you're my only customer? And they say, oh, well, you're just a kid. I say, that doesn't mean that, you know, I'm like, don't think for a moment that you can extort me, rip me off, give me a run because you think you're my only client and I'm going to do everything I can to keep you. In fact, the opposite is true. I'm actually at that point in time doing everything I can to get rid of you, because they think that I'm just there at their beck and call. I have people who, you know, and I did a video in this actually the other day, which is going to be up on YouTube hopefully today, and because people are, you know, I send all my clients a message the night before, or at the very, very latest, early on the morning that we're planning to, you know, come service, because we have a set schedule for them and they know that schedule. So it's just a friendly reminder, really. It shouldn't even be needed. It's just a reminder to say, look, we're coming, make sure all the cars are out of the driveway and so on. And, you know, I have in that agreement, if people don't respond, which, you know, often they say, look, if we don't respond, it's all good. But I say, if you do not want us to come mow, you need to tell us, because I've literally had people, I've driven out of my way, past the rest of my route to get to their house, only to get there and be told, oh, no, can you come back in a week's time?
That's no fun.
It's not, because then I'm paying, if I've got 2 or 3 guys sitting in the car with me, I'm paying all of them $16 an hour to sit in the car going to and from a job that we don't even do. So
they're happy about it.
They're happy about it. It's great for them, not good for me. And so, you know, I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen. And that's why I put it in that agreement. And I think also another thing is people, you know, having different ideas of what our standard service is. So, you know, I have my SMS or standard mowing service actually. So just, you know, mow, trim, edge, blow off, go. And then, you know, if they want more premium work, you know, blade edging and so on, great. We'll quote and charge that as, you know, you request. But, you know, I've had people who, you know, I still haven't been paid the full amount because, you know, they basically just don't want me. And I don't want to deal with anyhow because they've said, oh, I thought when you do that, that includes pulling weeds out of the lawn. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to spend an hour and a bit like crawling around on your lawn trying to pull out weeds when you've said you have a like weed and feed thing, which is like meant to be sprayed onto the weeds. Like, yes, okay, it makes it a bit quicker if you pull them out, but it can still work without doing that. So that really gets to me, and that's why in that client agreement sheet, I've just put everything down there. And basically, if you don't sign it, you're not a customer anymore. I'm not even going to bother with you because I don't have time. I am a very busy person, and I can't stuff around with people for hours, trying to debate on what price, how often, what's the service include. I don't have the time or the care to do that. If people are going to be tough to deal with, I'm not going to bother with them. I want good, easy clients who, I just send them a message, reminder we're coming tomorrow, great, easy. Or it hasn't really grown, would you mind coming in a week's time? Awesome, like, grace, thank you for letting me know. Yes, I will rebook you. I had 3 or 4 clients do that to me yesterday because our growing season's kind of stopped now, or it's really slowing down. So, it's not growing as much. And they said, look, can you just rebook us? And I said, that's fine. At least you've actually told me. But when I get real mad is when people don't tell me and they wait until I'm at their house to tell me they don't want to cut. So that's one of the difficulties, I think, is people see me because I'm a kid. They think that I'm not really, legit about it, and I'm not really, bothering so much with it. But I am. I've got insurance. I've got all the equipment. I've got, I'm a member of the Independent Lawn Mowing Contractors of Australia. I'm part of the alliances. I've got all the stuff. I'm trying to run this as a business. So people need to treat me like it's a business, not like I'm some local kid doing a couple of lawns in, his street. That's not what it is anymore.
Did it surprise you when you first started out that people treated you like that? Like, did you go out with the idea that, people were going to treat you with all the respect and, of any other lawn mowing person?
I was hoping to, but at the same time, I was pretty confident that there was going to be some level of, shadiness, I guess, because I am a kid, and people are probably not going to look at me in the same way as they look at a 40-year-old contractor who's, got the reputable business brand and everything. But I look at it as the way as I am running this as a business. I am doing the work of a business. I am charging like all the other contractors in my area, or a few dollars below in some cases. But I need to, have my customers understand that and treat me that way. So if they're not happy with something, they need to let me know, because I tell them, if you don't say anything, how do you expect me to know that you don't want something done, or you want this fixed or that fixed? You've got to talk to me like you would your gyms guy, like your other local contractor. It's the same thing.
Well, let me ask you this. I get the sense, this is the first time I've ever talked to you face to face. Well, and I say face to face, I get the sense that you're a very, I don't want to say like strong, like over the top personality, but I feel like you stand up for yourself really well. Do you feel like that's accurate?
Yeah, I guess I'm not. Well, I'm a.
You're not a pushover. Let's say that, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. I've got a soft heart. I can be really nice to people, and that's what I like doing. But if people start trying to give me a runaround, and I see that, or people start, doing things that I don't like, I will get tough with them, and I will just say, this isn't on. I'm not afraid of doing that, because you can't be afraid of doing that. You have to have that level of, you're not afraid to get, serious with customers if they're not treating you the right way. Because again, I think that's what some people thought was, I'm his only customer. I can do whatever I like, make him charge me whatever I like, and, he'll be fine with that. Well, no, I'm not actually. And yes, I will drop you. And that's what I've done. So it makes it easier for me.
Well, good. And I think that's an important trait to have. It seems like especially more for a younger person, because I think it's good for any kind of lawn care person to have, because you will run into those kind of issues. But I think if you're younger, you're more likely to run into those kind of issues. So you need to make sure you're not that you've got a bad attitude, but that you're ready to step up for yourself and say, this isn't exactly right or fair, and I don't feel okay with it.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, was there any other topics that we didn't get to cover that you wanted to touch on?
I think a lot of guys talk, when I see, because I'm on so many lawn care groups, obviously on Facebook and so on, a lot of guys saying, oh, what do you think of this mower? What do you think of that mower? I see some people on there that are just like, they devote their life to a particular brand. They'll devote their life to Ferris, God knows why, or they'll devote their life to Walker, or they'll devote their life to Skag, Hustler, and so on, or Echo, haha, Mario Sands. But I think that's probably the worst thing you can do. And, I have people, I say, oh, what would you think about this product, that product? They say, buy an Echo. That doesn't really help me because there's like no Echo available near me.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's just that brand, how do I say? Brand's, trying to think of the word, loyalty. And I mean, yes, you can be loyal, and yes, I do like my still gear, for instance. I love my still products. They've never failed me. They're always working fantastic. I start that BR700 right up. Even my, everyone knows 2-strokes can be a bit harder to start than 4-strokes. That I've had that little still handheld blower, 2-stroke, starts in 1 pull half the time. So, and that's after sitting for a couple of weeks without being used. So I think if you've got a really good dealer, that's the important part. And if you've got the support, that's the key bit. Now, I've got a Husqvarna dealer right near me, and I quite like Husqvarna's stuff. I've used some of their products. They're great. But the guy there, I think he lost his personality at birth. He has no customer service attitude whatsoever. You go in there and doesn't even look up from his desk, I go, oh, hi, how you going? Oh, hello. What do you want? I'm sorry, am I going to hand $900 to this bloke to buy a new backpack blower, or am I going to hand $900 to the guy at my local steel dealer who, since I walk in, oh, James, how you going? Great to see you again. What are you up to? And so on. It's the energy in them. And that's what I love about my local dealer, even if it's only a tiny mower shop, just your local mower mechanic happens to be still a mass-bought dealer. The fact that they've, family-run business and they care so much about their customers. Now, I'm not sure whether it's just for me because I've got to know the owner so well and his family, or whether it's because, that's just how they are. But from what I've seen, it's just the way they always work. They can have tons of mowers sitting in their workshop waiting to be worked on, but as soon as I walk in with something, if I need it fixed, straight on the bench. Let's look over it, James. Come down to the workshop, let's have a look through it. It's not so much, let's just fix it up. He wants to show me how it's done as well, so I gain a better understanding of the piece of equipment I'm using, which I think is really good. And, not to mention discounts and just free advice. It's so helpful when you have someone as passionate as my local dealer is, because they're never going to fail you. And whenever I have any issues, he's right there. Like when my old backpack blower broke a couple of weeks back on a Sunday morning, right? I've got the dealer on Messenger, I think. I just sent him a message. I said, look, this is what's happened. What do you think's going wrong with it? It's not wanting to turn over. It's not wanting to start. It's been running rough. What do you think? And he said, look, sounds like this, sounds like that. Bring it in, take it apart, have a look at it. I said, look, I just need a new blower, because Warranty try stuff around with the guys that I bought that from on eBay. They're an online mower car place that they shipped it down to me. It's been a few weeks now, and I've still basically got no further. Whereas I walk into that shop, right, here we go, bang, done. That's what you need. And I know a few guys have been having issues, say with Skag recently, because some of their dealers weren't honouring warranty and so on. You don't have time for that as a business owner. You really need to have people standing behind their products, and the dealers standing behind what they're doing too, because they're the ones putting it all together. They're the ones doing the work. You need to have them helping you as well, because they're the ones you're going to be talking to. So I think dealers are really important. Make friends with them if you can. Go to your local mower shop, say, hey, this is my name. How are you going? I'm from this business, and get to know them, because then you're going to be opened up to a whole new world of advice, support, even when they're not open. And I think that's a really, really helpful part, which has helped me so much in my business, because I wouldn't have been where I am without those dealers up at my mower shop. So that's a key thing.
I agree. It's not the reps or the executives or the marketing folks at Skag or Echo or Bobcat who are going to be fixing your mower when it breaks. It's going to be the guy down at the local shop. So I agree. Well, very good. Well, thank you for your time. If folks want to follow you, I think you've got quite a few social media platforms. Are they all under JWN Lawn Care?
Well, I've got Instagram as JWN Lawncare, but I haven't been using that so much recently because Instagram won't let me sign in for some reason or another. So I'm not using that one so much, but I've definitely got a Facebook page, JWN Lawncare. I'm on Snapchat, just as my name. I'm on Instagram as well. My private account's just my name as well. LinkedIn, I'm on there as well because, I found that pretty good. Where else? Facebook, personal accounts, obviously, if people want to just connect and talk. I accept most people as long as they don't look dodgy. So, yeah, if people want to have a chat, I'm really about paying it forward, giving it back, because I've had a lot of support from people like you and Brian Shane and a lot of other guys around me, like Ray Bush, Pitwater Mowing. He's on YouTube as well. All those people that have really helped me build my business up, so I can't want to do the same for other people. If they need help, I know I don't have tons of experience, but people need advice, support, whatever. I'm always happy to give it.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, James. I appreciate it. Thanks for waking up earlier than you had to, and still early for your time. So thank you, sir. Have a good rest of the weekend.
You too.
All right, bye.
See ya.